Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of EBC Sports International. I'm your host, Jolty Horvath, reporting from Vancouver, British Columbia. We hope everyone is well and staying safe during this pandemic. With me today are our amazing EBC correspondents from around the world who will discuss sports topics during these interesting times. For the first time in weeks, we have everyone back, so let's meet our correspondents. In Quezon City, Philippines, Ben Bernaldez.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the program.
In Las Vegas, Aljamain Santos.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's good to be back.
In Washington, D.C., Ken Cruz.
I wore this outfit first, Rita.
In Seattle, Michael Hudson.
What's up, guys? Still waiting for you to put on your lime shirt, Jolty.
One day. And in Toronto, Ontario, Zarita Sese.
Hi, guys.
So a lot has happened in this past week when it comes to sports, and we have tons to talk about. But before we jump in, Ben has some news about a Filipino hooper. Ben?
Yeah, one of the rising star Filipino basketball player, 30 Ravenna, is set to become the first Filipino basketball player to play in a Japan basketball league. The San and Neo Phoenix signed the former Ateneo guard to become the B-League's first beneficiary of its new Asian player quotas rule. The rule says that a new competition system implemented for this year, 2020-21 season, to enhance competitive abilities by matching with various Asian players in daily games and to expand business in the Asian market. So, 30 Ravenna is the first Filipino baller to play in a Japanese league. Led by former Japanese national team members Atsuya Ota, Takunobu Tsukawa, and Tashi Da Silva, the new Phoenix based in the city of Toihashi in the Aichi Prefecture look to bounce back after slipping to a league worst 5-36 record the last they played. So not bad for 30 playing with some national players, but we'll see if he will play better in Japan or just going back to the Philippines to play professionally. And that's it for me for sports news update for this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Ben. Now let's jump right into our discussion for this week. As the remainder of the NBA season inches closer, more and more reports of players testing positive for COVID-19 are surfacing, including Nikola Jokic, who is actually still in Serbia. The NBA also just released a report from the first wave of mandatory testing, and 16 out of the 302 players tested were positive. Piled onto that, there are reports of some players opting out of playing in Florida, including Trevor Ariza of the Blazers and Avery Bradley of the Lakers. Ben, I'm going to ask you this. Do you think the league should continue, or should they call it quits before this just starts getting even more out of hand?
Well, Zolty, honestly, for me, it doesn't make any sense to continue the season going up. But Adam Silver, the NBA commissioner, said they're very comfortable with their decision to restart the season, even with the dramatic surge of the virus cases particularly in Florida. With 9,000 new cases has been counted just for one day alone. And also considering some players opting out to play for the restart of NBA, I think they had to really think about their decision whether to continue or not. It's better to be safe than sorry. I think that's, for me, let's put the safety of everyone rather than money.
Amen. Amen. I mean, for me, yeah, well, I mean, for me, it's I think that safety is always going to be the number one concern, with the coronavirus race just spiking everywhere. I mean, we even have some states that are pausing the reopen because of the high level of positive cases that we have, including Florida, who just got 9,000, which just had a single day record since the coronavirus started. I think they need to just wrap everything up, just shut everything down, because who knows? Like I said last week, all it takes is going to take one person to infect the entire bubble that they're in. So I think the best course of action is to just shut everything down and get ready for next season.
You know how much the NBA wants this season to continue and to be successful? You know how they sent the 100-page document last week to all the players, were, literally laying out almost everything, including not playing doubles ping pong. They didn't lay out a situation in which the season would be paused again in those 100 pages, which means that they are going to try and push for this as much as they can. And is it dangerous? Absolutely. But we'll discuss it in the next segment in regards to the schedules. I'm sure all of us have seen, once we saw the schedules, there's that part of us that just got really excited and really hyped. At least for me. But one of the big dangers that I know for a fact is that Disney World is set to reopen July 11th. And I know the players are going to be blocked off from everybody else, but they're going to be right near all these droves of people looking to get into the parks. And they're not supposed to be going out of their little bubble, but that's not guaranteed. And so it's going to be extremely dangerous to continue to this. But I did want to also make a side point regarding how some of these players are opting out. I respect that 100%. Avery Bradley, huge loss for the Lakers, which means that Caruso and Caruso has to step up. Dion Waiters has to step up, and I think that open slot will probably go to J.R. Smith or maybe Swaggy. Or no. But what I can say, though, is the Lakers are 13-1 without Avery Bradley this season. However, they did really need Avery Bradley against the Clippers. He went crazy for 3 in that win against the Clippers. So he's a big loss. But at the same time, too, personally, I want the league to continue and to remain on course. But if the Florida numbers continue to peak and spike, I don't know. That might change my personal opinion.
So Rico, let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Sorry,
go ahead.
Well, so I was going to say that's where the conflict is. I think Ken brings up a super important point for a lot of people that watch the NBA, who are big fans of the NBA and want to see it continue. But is that the safest route to go? Is it smart for the future? Is it smart for the players? With one person getting infected and being in healthcare, that virus spreads exponentially. And some of them do not exhibit symptoms for days and weeks. Some symptoms arise within a couple days, and some may not even show any symptoms. As example of Donovan Mitchell. He's been healthy the entire time and hasn't experienced any kind of fatigue or any of the symptoms that come along with the virus. But, along with, being in that bubble, it has to stay sterile. It has to stay clean. These courts, how are they planning to disinfect the entire building once games are done? That's one of the biggest things that I think of, because in the hospital setting, whenever there's a COVID patient that arrives in a room, that room is disinfected thoroughly with Virex solution and a UV light to clear the air of any kind of droplets. Now, imagine UV lighting an entire stadium. How many UV lights are you going to need? How clean is this environment going to be? How are they monitoring the sanitation of every player? It sucks for the fans, but we have to think about the players and their families, and as well as the businesses that have to who are going to suffer because of this closure. I think Adam Silver did mention that this reopening of the season has no options that have no risks. So there's risk no matter how you want to look at it. However you want to flip the coin, there's always going to be a risk. And, you know, as far as I know, Adam Silver has a job to do, but it's really tough. And you know, if they stop the season with certain players that are testing positive, you know, we can expect a better future for the sports and for the NBA. I mean, there's no other way to look at it, really.
Now, Zarita, so Kevin Durant today said that if he was healthy, he wouldn't make the trip down to Florida. Do you think we're going to see more and more active players backing out due to this this latest report? I think it was over 5% tested positive in this first wave. Are we going to see more and more people back out?
I think considering how close we are, I think players are pretty much committed at this point. The thing about Kevin Durant, it's easier to say because you know for a fact you're not going into that situation. So obviously, yes, you can say, yeah, if I was healthy, I wouldn't go. But you have to realize that these players, at the end of the day, they're playing for something. For example, I'm thinking about the Toronto Raptors who are defending their championship. And there was a podcast with Nick Nurse today saying, like, these guys understand and they're committed. So again, it's easy for Kevin Durant to say that because he's not in their position. But one thing I do want to mention is I don't appreciate when Evan Fournier called out, I think it was someone from the Wizards saying, you don't know what you're doing, you should be there with your team, just like playing for them. And that's just like, everyone should be understanding of the situation that no one's been through this before. No one would fault people if they didn't play. So I think I really don't know. That sportsman in me just wants to see them play. But at the same time, at what point do we say, okay, we have to shut it down? Because today Adam Silver said if there's a significant increase in numbers. But I'm thinking, what if LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard, only two of them get tested positive, but everyone else is fine? But those are your money makers. So are you going to cancel the season? So it's like, I understand, but at the same time, it's just like, there's just too many factors.
And also, I think you also take in consideration, I mean, the legacy of this, right? I mean, at the end of the day, it's all going to come down to, I mean, are we going to put an asterisk to whoever wins a championship if this goes on? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, this is nothing more than, you know, a last-second tournament put together. Not all the best players are playing. And so, I mean, if the Clippers or the Lakers or even the Bucks end up winning, are we even going to even count this as part of somebody's legacy? So, I mean, I think – yeah, it'd be great to have the NBA back, but I think as far as typical team,
you have to count it. You have to, because the NBA worked so hard for this. I mean,
an 8-game regular season, and then
all the players that literally sacrifice their time and their effort and their livelihood in order to come. So, like, I would think that participate in this will definitely understand the importance of who wins. Because
okay, so if LeBron and Kawhi get knocked out, they get infected, they can't play. You're still gonna, whoever wins, you're still gonna count them as.
No,
you're not gonna put. I mean,
the lockout
can't count it.
And 99 counted, so this has to count too.
But then
one
you
thing
also have to.
One thing I do want to bring up is you're talking about the star players getting injured and then not counting it. Does that mean the Raptors championship doesn't count? The Warriors?
I mean, that was an 82-game season, and they actually had the playoff.
Cheap shot. That was a cheap shot.
That hurt, Salty. You're supposed to be on my side. Ouch. Okay? I was going to say, though, you have to consider everyone else but the athletes and the coaches, because the one thing that stuck out with me is Disney employees are petitioning not to open the park. Mind you, it's for the public, but they're risking their lives just as much as these athletes, and they're not going to get glorified. They're not going to get the TV time. They're not going to get the salaries of these players. So there are so many people that are putting everything at risk for the sake of entertainment. That's the way I see it.
They're the ones I'm concerned of the most, because they're the ones that don't get the stringent testings. They don't get the rings, like the COVID-19, the COVID-19 rings, the corona. Yeah, so like they get to go home every day. and then come back. And then, yeah, Adam Silver said in the 100-page document says that they probably won't be in contact, but that's not a given. You know, like if these employees are going to be roaming around, there's a high chance that they'll be in contact with player, a staff member, a coaching staff member, or anybody, equipment manager or something. And all it takes is one, like we mentioned a billion times, employee to staff member to NBA player to coronavirus positive.
And another thing too, though, is like for the first 8 games, everyone's safe, and then you're going to bring in families for playoffs, and then you're going to have to go through this all over again. You have kids. I don't know how many people they're allowing in, but it's just another set of madness after that.
Well, for me, the step that NBA made for this NBA restart is it's risk versus your revenue. You have more risk than getting a revenue from this scenario. So with the number of cases continue to increase in Florida, would you rather risk more lives than business? So,
well, that's a huge American question, Ben. I think when it comes to revenue and reward, that's the reason why this whole thing is happening. And so, I think that like at the end of the day, like they're looking to make the money, and I think they will. If this happens, the NBA will make a lot of money, like fact. And so, they'd
be billionaires anyways.
Disney themed special jerseys, right? That you can only get like during this time.
COVID jerseys.
A LeBron James one. That's.
I'll just make my own. You can just shut it down.
COVID exclusive jerseys.
Lime green, right?
Yeah.
All right, great points, everyone. Before we continue, though, we do have to go for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about the NBA schedule that was released today. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a moment.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. Open up, you came to get it broke with a dame, I should have broke you back. When I was a child.
Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure Building a Better World. Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Lunch and Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, Our Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Star Tollway is a 41.9-kilometer highway that stretches out from Santo Tomas, Batangas all the way to Batangas City. An important component of the company's portfolio, the NAIA Expressway project is a 5.4-kilometer elevated expressway that connects the Skyway system to NAIA Airport terminals and the entertainment city. SMC Infrastructure's ventures also include other projects aside from the toll road business.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Schulte Horvath. Sticking with the NBA, the schedule for the final 8 games of the season were released today, and some teams, it seems, have it way easier than others. Ken, who do you see as the winners and the losers of the schedule?
Winner, the New Orleans Zions. The Pelicans. 6 of their 8 games are against bubble teams / number 8 teams. Wizards, Spurs, Magic, Kings twice, and the Grizzlies. If they beat, it's like a double win. So it's clear that the NBA wants the Zion in the playoffs to match up against LeBron, but so do I.
Win-win.
What about your losers, Ken?
Loser. Loser. The Lakers definitely have a really tough matchup. But at the end of the day, they don't really have much to lose as far as losing their ranking too much. So unless they just go 0 for 8. But I think going against tough teams to start off with, that first game on July 30th is Lakers versus Clippers, 9 p.m. Eastern time, which I'm going to be zoning in on. I think playing tough teams is a big plus, so that they get straight into they'll know where they're at, right? I mean, everyone's going to be rusty, but at the same time too, you play the top tier teams, you're going to hopefully come into the playoffs ready to battle the New Orleans Zion Pelican.
Yeah, I just think it's funny.
Sarita, the Raptors start off against the Lakers.
Yeah.
Do you think that's on purpose?
I think the Raptors actually have a pretty hard schedule. Mind you, they were scheduled to have a hard schedule in the actual regular season, but they have Lakers, Heat we always have trouble with, Celtics, Bucks, 76ers, so that's going to be a test for sure. Another team that has it pretty hard too is Miami Heat. They have Nuggets, Raptors, Celtics, Bucks right off the bat, and considering the schedule now, it's only, I think, every other day. The one that actually has it pretty easy is the Clippers, because they have Zion, they have Suns, Nets, Nuggets, Thunder, and then Jazz, surprisingly, also has it easy. Pelicans, Thunder, Grizzlies, Spurs, Nuggets, Mavs, and Spurs. They play the Spurs twice, so yeah, those are my winners and losers for sure.
Mike, I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's just funny how they're just trying to set this up for New Orleans for them to make that playoff run, man. It's just like, who's the little analytic person in the back in the NBA room that's setting up these schedules, man? I mean, you have by far the winner of this tournament, New Orleans, with the easiest schedule. I mean, you could put us together on a team and we would fare out pretty good with this type of schedule, you know what I'm saying? But as far as the losers go, I'm going to say, yeah, I'll probably either the Lakers. They're going to have a tough road ahead. And, yeah, Miami Heat as well. You know, originally before the pandemic started, Miami was actually one of my dark horses in the East, especially after adding Iguodala.
100%.
For the East, because, you know, the East is going to be wide open for years to come ever since LeBron left. So anything can happen there. But a part of me now is just I hope New Orleans just chokes and it doesn't work out, because it just kind of angered me a little bit to see that schedule, because it's just so laughable.
Yeah, they don't play the Lakers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's the first thing I look for. I was like, how do you not
play the Wizards and not the Lakers? The Wizards and the Magic and not the Lakers.
This is like, dude, come on, man.
Ben, what are your thoughts on the schedule?
Well, Raptors is one of the losers, I think. Now, being a defending champion, the second most difficult remaining schedule. They have to face Lakers, Miami Heat, Magic, Celtics, Grizzlies, Bucks, 76ers, and Nuggets. During that, there's some changes in the lineup. I think pretty much it's going to be tough for the Raptors if they want to have a run for the second title. But I think it's pretty much very impossible.
Aljamain, I'm going to ask you this question. It's a little different than everyone else's. A few weeks ago, we talked about the odds of the New Orleans Pelicans, or the New Orleans Zions, as Ken calls them, to actually come back and catch up to the Blazers. The Blazers are going in with a 3.5 game lead. Do you think their schedule favors them to clinch the 8th spot, or do you think the Pelicans can catch up?
I think it's Memphis, by the way, Jolty. Memphis is 8, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is Memphis.
Is it? Oh, that's my bad. I thought it was the Blazers.
The Blazers are in the mix, though, definitely.
Yeah,
they're not too far behind. I really think the Zions are going to really make a big impact. You know what I mean? Once Zion came back off of injury and healing, he's gotten a lot more time to really acclimate his body to playoff mode. You know, he's been able to rest, he's been able to train a little bit more, and we saw his impact once he got onto the court. I don't think there's any kind of question that the Pelicans have a great chance, aside from the rest, especially with like Brandon Ingram, you know, coming off of fully rested, Lonzo Ball and all of them. On top of being able to rest a lot and being able to, you know, take advantage of the schedule that was put before them. I mean, I don't know how more obvious you can get that the NBA definitely wants, you know, the Pelicans and Zion to be there because of, you know, the television opportunity that they have there. So, you know, Zion is an exceptional athlete. You tie in Lonzo Ball's court IQ and Brandon Ingram's talent, you know, they're going to give the Grizzlies a run for their position. They just have to perform. That's it.
You know, no, actually, you know what could potentially hold New Orleans back on him? Zion's diet. The big concern is, did he hit the gym during this pandemic, or did he hit the Big Mac? Right? I mean, like, did he just like use all of his salary on Uber Eats?
Zion.
You don't power this. You don't power this with salad.
You get too many Zion burgers, bro.
You don't power this with salad, bro.
I don't know, man. Like the New Orleans, like there's a lot of good food over there, so I'm pretty concerned. I mean, like, have you seen this guy in a suit? The guy in a suit looks like Charles Barkley now. So I mean, I'm really very concerned about how he's going to be on the court. He plays heavy. He plays agile, but at the same time too, I mean, if his weight catches up to him, he's going to be like Shaq. He's going to have feet problems.
I think that's part of his game, though. You know, his size. He uses his size very well. He's an agile Charles Barkley. You know, he's a smaller Shaq, but he's just as powerful on the court, and people respect that. You know, they respect his game and his big man game, but he also has other tricks up his sleeve. You know what I mean? So, you know.
But I think tendons don't respect weight. So that's my biggest thing. You know? And ACLs and ACLs.
But I think we're lucky. We're lucky. Well, I think that one injury was sort of a fluke. But I mean, before then, he never even got hurt at all. So I think he's a pretty durable. Yeah, I know, right? That's pretty amazing.
I really hope, he stays healthy and that he did, you know, in fact, change his diet. I thought I read somewhere that they hired a nutritionist for him.
I heard he's in amazing shape right now.
You know,
that's what I was about to say.
I'm worried about.
You know the name of his
a report today. There was a report that came out today that said he is in amazing shape. He has been working out. He has been working with his nutritionist. We will continue this conversation pretty soon, but before we continue, we do have to go to a short break. When we come back, like I said, we'll continue talking about the schedule. We'll talk about Zion's physical status. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a moment.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. It up, you came to get it broke with a dame, I should have broke you back when I was a child.
Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure Building a Better World. Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Veg-approved Nutrichunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutrichunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutrichunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutrichunks.
To date, SMC Infrastructure remains at the forefront of Boracay Airport's modernization. The current and long-term developments include the construction of an international airport passenger terminal and the extension of the existing runway to better serve bigger aircrafts, providing tourists with world-class access to this slice of paradise.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-Made Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
pinagluluto ang mga mahal natin? We want them to feel special. Sa meaty luncheon meat that we serve. If your pure intentions had a taste, it would taste like Pure Foods. Pure sarap. Pure Foods luncheon meat.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Schulte Horvath. Before we went to the break, we were mid-discussion about the NBA's new 8-game schedule. And we were talking, well, Algerman was telling us about Portland and New Orleans' chances of catching up to the Grizzlies when they're both 3.5 games back. Now, Memphis has to play both of those teams in the first, I believe, the first 3 or 4 games. Mike, what can we expect from the Grizzlies?
You know, for the Grizzlies, I really do feel for them because they have those 3 tough games in 4 nights. And then their very last game, they have to play the Milwaukee Bucks, who is basically the #1 best record in the NBA. So that could be the deal breaker as far as kicking them out of the playoffs. For me, out of those 3 teams, the Grizzlies, Portland, and New Orleans, I have Portland sneaking in there because the return of Nurkic, that's a huge.
Is that for sure? Is that for sure?
Based on what I've researched, I've heard he's back. You know, Ariza's gone, which is a blow, which is why I don't think they'll beat the Lakers when they play them. But you know, Carmelo's there. You have McCollum. You have Dame Lillard. Zach, I forget his last name, from Gonzaga.
Collins.
He's there. Yeah, Zach Collins.
Zach Collins, yeah.
You know, they're going to be ready to go. So I think they have the upper hand, and that's definitely my dark horse for Western Conference.
I am mad because, like Mike said, their schedule, right? The first 3 out of 4 games are like, if they lose these 3 games, they're pretty much gone. Like, it's like these are double losses against. If they lose against Blazers, if they lose against the Zions, these are double losses for them. And then a huge slap in the face to go against Giannis to finish up the 8-game schedule. I would be so angry, and if I was like someone from Memphis, I would be emailing the commissioner asking for an explanation on this. Who created the schedule? Because I mean, I feel for Memphis. I mean, in past years, they were known as kind of a boring team, but great defense. They are an explosive team now with John Morant, and you know they see basketball. It's just that Zion is must see. So I get where you know they're coming from, but at the same time too, like I think it's not a good look on the NBA to so obviously fix the schedule for their star rookie.
Oh, that's another question there for John Morant. You know, I think he has the running to be Rookie of the Year in my book over Zion.
Oh, he won it.
Oh yeah, you know, and if Zion replaces Ja, I mean, who are you giving Rookie of the Year to? That's
a good point.
That's a good question.
Because I remember a couple weeks ago they were 80% on John Morant. So if Zion takes that number 8 spot, it might be a whole other story in just these 8 games.
It's just based on regular season, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like this is like it's literally almost another season. Like this, if they switch things, if they switch position, if they get into the playoffs, New Orleans, I really do think Zion's going to get that Rookie of the Year. If they don't, then it's literally all John Morant's.
Yeah.
The other thing too, I think with Memphis, like, it might even fuel them to be like, you're going to throw this schedule at us. We're going to show you that we deserve to be in the playoffs over your beloved child of Zion. But I'm just looking at the schedule. It is really unfair because down to the last 3 games, I'm just looking, where is it? It's like Raptors, Celtics, Bucks for Memphis. And that's the last 3. And we know that it goes down to the last 3. And then you're looking at Zion, Spurs, Kings, Magic to end your season, and then going down to Portland, 76ers, Mavs, Nets.
Bye.
So I think all the more Memphis, especially because I love JV, Memphis is going to be like, let's prove everyone wrong. Let's actually earn our spot here, and let's give our boy Ja Morant Rookie of the Year, and let's send him off the way it should be.
I don't think they're good enough to have that. I don't know if they're good enough to have that type of attitude. I mean, if it was like
gritty and grind, man, that's
if it was like the Clippers or something, they could. But
I've spoken to that kid, man, and he's got.
So you're telling me
attitude about.
You're telling me that they're gonna beat those. They're gonna beat what was it? What'd you say, Zarina? You said Raptors, Bucks.
The top three.
You're telling me they're gonna be able to beat those three teams? Come on, there's no.
I don't know, man.
There's no way. Zero chance.
I really don't think so.
Don't write off
that
team.
team.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's playing one guy though. Who else do they have? They
have Brandon Clark.
But I'll write off.
Really.
Those three teams have full teams.
Exactly. It's just Ja. That's it. He can go up for 40, and these guys will still win by 20 points.
So let me pose this question real quick then. If the Pelicans end up making it over the Grizzlies, what does that say about Zion and his game? And on the opposite side, if the Grizzlies lose a majority of their games and they're out, what does that say about the skill and talent of Ja Morant?
Well, I mean, New Orleans has the better all-around team. Than the Grizzlies, in my opinion. I mean, they have more veterans. They have more skilled players. Obviously they have Ja Morant. Okay, but come on, Grizzlies have Brandon Ingram. They have Alonzo Ball. They're a really good defensive team. I mean, they're just a better well-oiled machine than the Grizzlies, in my opinion.
I agree to a certain extent.
Well, there's no knock to Ja Morant. No, I think he's Rookie of the Year. But I mean, as far as the best team is always going to make the playoffs. Look at history. I mean, the best team is always.
Are you taking into account their schedules? Are you taking into account their schedules? Because I mean, it's like a lose-lose situation for Ja.
I mean,
if he loses, then you have the excuse of like having a hard schedule. If he wins, then it's like, oh shoot, yeah, Ja is legit.
Oh, sure. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's how they're going to play, right? I mean, they haven't even played a single game, so we don't know.
Well, that's what's the thing. Anyone can be good right now, and anyone can be bad because everyone's 3 months off.
They're at the mercy of the schedule that was given to them.
Sure. But I think because New Orleans has more of the veteran players, meaning people that have actually played like in bigger games and playoff games and stuff like that, I mean, I think they have the slight edge. Even if you gave them the Grizzlies schedule, I think New Orleans would still.
JJ Redick is he's like, you better put me into the playoffs. I ain't never missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we forgot to mention one of the best 3-point shooters in the game.
And you have Holiday too, is like one of the best perimeter defenders in NBA.
Oh, dude, yeah. This is right now. I mean, unfortunately,
they should switch schedules, man.
Yeah, even though the Grizzlies, this is the Pelicans to lose.
Yeah.
Based on
100%.
Oh, absolutely.
If they lose, oh my God, you guys. If the Pelicans still lose with that schedule and the staff that they have,
they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
It's like
they're not
a big loser. It's not even like just a loss. It's a big loss. Like they catered to your schedule. They gave you the.
Well, listen. I mean, the Grizzlies do have a 3.5 lead.
What's that?
They do. They have a 3.5 game lead.
3.5, yeah, but I mean, like,
yeah, but I mean, like I said, the Grizzlies do have a 3.5 game lead. So
wait. Did you guys notice that they put the rule if a team is like 4 games behind, they play a play-in game, and the Grizzlies are 3.5? It's like dude, Zion all day. It's like, come on.
You can't be any more obvious,
even if New Orleans were like 10 games behind, it'd be like, okay, if they're within like 9 games, then we'll do a play-in game, right? I guarantee you.
I forgot about that. They just have to get within 3.
That's come on, man. That's why I want New Orleans to just choke and just ruin the NBA.
Come
on, Ja. Come on, Grizzlies.
Game. They lose the play.
I'm rooting for the Grizzlies, man.
Grizzlies, baby.
Well, I think for me, one of the winners also is the fans. Let's not forget.
All right. So what we've learned so far today.
Ben was talking. I don't think you heard him.
So what we've learned today is that the NBA is completely on Zion's side. What's that?
Ben was saying something.
Anyway, what we learned today was that the NBA is completely on Zion's side, and it's these 8 games are completely rigged. Anyway, we're gonna go for a short break. When we come back, we're gonna talk our favorite Vince Sanity moment as he announced his retirement. Don't go away. We'll be right back in a moment.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. Open up, you came to get it drunk with a dame, and shit it drunk you got. When I was a child.
Abangan ang kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure Building a Better World. Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved NutriChocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa NutriChocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate NEPs and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved NutriChunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa NutriChunks.
The Metro Rail Transit 7, or MRT-7, is a planned rail and road project from North Avenue, Quezon City to San Jose del Monte, Bulacan, with 14 stations, which can service 650,000 passengers daily. And very soon, the construction of the New Manila International Airport in Bulacan, Bulacan is expected to accommodate 100 million passengers annually and promises to be another significant contribution to progress in the Philippines.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandwich Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back to EBC Sports International. I'm Jolty Horvath. Thank you for staying with us. NBA legend Vince Carter announced his retirement after a record 20 years and the Nets. And as Arena knows, he's influenced young Canadian players like no one else in the country could. Players like Andrew Wiggins, Jamal Murray, and Tristan Thompson. A true NBA legend on and off the court. Now, let's talk about our favorite Vinsanity moment. Ben, you're up first.
Right, for aside from the 2000 Slam Dunk contest, favorite moment, Vince Carter moment was in the 2000 Olympics versus Italy when he dunked on
Oh, yeah.
wise of Italy. I think that was the most memorable moment for me. Aside from all of his highlights of his career, Vince has made really an impact in the 90s.
Can I go next? My favorite one is actually meeting him, me and Vince Carter.
Oh.
Nice.
Oh, look at you.
Yeah. Humble brag. I'm kidding. No, I actually asked him about. I told him my favorite shoe was growing up was his Nike Shox, and he said, "I'm bringing those back." And lo and behold, he is bringing those back. So I will be running it back once those are released. But seriously, my favorite has to be probably my most watched YouTube video out of like all the years I've been YouTubing, which is his 2 dunk contest. You know, him and his cousin Tracy McGrady, and then like just doing under legs, elbow. I mean, it's one of the most iconic contests ever. Even though like now those dunks are kind of like eating all these guys. I don't know how these guys are jumping higher and higher and getting crazier and crazier with their dunks. But, you know, back then, those dunks were absolutely legendary. Half man, half amazing, full legend.
Yeah, he is a legend for the Raptors. We have a love-hate relationship with him. Well, I personally do. He's the first man that broke my heart when he left. But mine is actually when he came back, when he was part of Memphis in 2014, and the Raptors gave him a tribute video, and he actually ended up crying. And that's my favorite moment because I think that's when everyone kind of got over the hurt. We could all appreciate him now and like what he's done for this franchise. And also I was able to see his last game in Toronto. Unfortunately, I didn't realize it was his last game because he had one more. But that was a really special moment because I think everyone kind of had a feeling that we might not see him again. So like the standing ovation that day was crazy.
Yeah, I don't think any Vinsanity memory overshadows his dunk contest win. I know a lot of dunkers now, they get consultation from specialists and stuff like that on dunks, but I like to think that Vince Carter came up with all those dunks from the top of his head. You know, like it was the first time that you ever saw dunks like this magnitude, the honey dip, the arm all the way into the basket, and then the 360 underneath the leg windmill. Like, dude, that's like when I think of Vince Carter, I always think about his dunking skills, and you know he's definitely gonna be. Oh yeah, it's over. Just that icon is done. Like man, that I'll always remember Vince Carter for that.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, it starts earlier than even the NBA. It's just North Carolina. Just like just the way he stood out on the court, like he was just so flashy, man. Like he was just probably the most athletic basketball player I've ever seen play. You know, he was definitely like my favorite player growing up in high school. You know, playing basketball, and I think the moment for me that stood out the most as far as his NBA career is, you know, in the All-Star game. I think it was the 2002 when Jordan made his comeback with the Wizards, and he wasn't a starter, and then Vince Carter, you know, gave up his starting position to Michael Jordan to let him start. And I thought that was just like such a huge class act on his part, and I think the guy is just like total class, just an amazing player. It's just Man, I just feel so old now. You see all these guys retiring, like D Wade's gone now, Dirk.
Yep.
You know, now Vince Carter is just like, man, these guys.
He's the last guy to play to be on an N64 game, by the way.
Dude, that's crazy.
There was a stat that he's played with like 23% of all NBA players because he played that long.
But think about it. He played against Jordan.
4 decades, right?
Kobe. He played against Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron. Can you imagine that? He played against 3 of the greatest players ever. That's amazing, man.
He is one of the GOATs for sure. Unparalleled talent in his athleticism. His dunks are always amazing. And it was super cool to see his last game. You know, they said, "Yeah, man, come up off the bench, come out here." You know, he busted 3, and everyone was like,
You know what the crazy thing is about him? Like he could have been just like a regular dunker, ended his career like 10 years ago. But the fact is, like, he developed that jumper, and the teams signed him on because he has a nice stroke.
One thing I appreciate about Vince is he never ring chased, because in the last final years he could have totally demanded coming back and to a contender, but he stayed with Atlanta. Like, who retired?
When he dunked over that dude in the Olympics, hands down, no question about it. So it's obvious.
"Oh yeah, it's not easy to jump over somebody, you know." Get on that tall, bro.
That was like, I didn't even see that. I didn't see that coming, man. I didn't see that coming at all.
That was one of the first YouTube videos I've ever seen, actually. It was I think I downloaded it off Kazaa or something. just
because.
Okay, so definitely my Vince Carter moment has to be the Olympics when he jumped over that dude. You know, that's the most memorable for me. Yeah, so it's kind of obvious that he's touched one way or another when it comes to you know, the NBA or even the Olympics. Anyway, that's all we have for this week's edition. Thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in next week. Make sure to visit our websites at eaglenews.net and eaglenews.live.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/EagleNewsPH to join the conversation. For Eagle News, I'm Joel T. Horvath. We live in interesting times.
Grizzlies.
It's over.
Grizzlies.
It's over.